Welcome to another episode. Day 6. This is like what, seventh episode, right?
Yeah,
so.
day 7.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if we post this afterwards, it'll kind of get messed up.
Yeah, this is not live. This is just kind of us talking. Yeah, this is kind of like episode 7-ish. Gonna switch it up a little bit this time. Kind of talk about some hunting stuff, what we're wanting to do.
Oh yeah, I'm
getting the itch real bad. Like you said, we're seeing some more hunting focused videos pop up on YouTube and all our feeds and stuff, and it's getting the itch. It's been what 8 months, 9 months, 10 months since we've hunted.
November 6th was my last
hunt. I was gonna say, you didn't even really get to go much last year, so yeah, things are gonna start to get hot and heavy, and a couple months for the hot and heavy, and that's, well, not like really, but like more activity from us instead of actually hunting, just being more present and making sure when October, November comes around, we're prepared and ready. We've done our due diligence and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we will really be able to kind of hit the woods and do some field exercises and start hanging tree stands if there's any new locations, looking at food plot locations, cleaning up trails, whatever it may be. So yeah, I think you and I have been talking about like different things that we want to do to our different properties, and starting that within the next couple of weeks, whether that be like the last weekend of July, which I think is the 29th and 30th, or first weekend of August. So first of all, like, how much land do you like typically put like most of your focus on? Like, you guys have quite a bit of land, but like, what would you say is like the core of the most of your hunting that you'd like to do a lot of work to this summer before the season starts?
Yeah, I mean, we have, like you said, we farm, so we have a bunch of land that we have available, but obviously there's good spots, and there's different spots that are better for different parts of the year. But I mean, really, when it comes to mind, I have like 4 stands that are like
core.
Yeah, these are the top priority. You have your ones where you can hunt all year and you can hunt them a lot, and
can't go wrong.
It's still not going to hurt them that much. And then you have your ones that you save. Yeah, I'd say in total, there's a couple like 40, 50 acre plots, and then there's a couple hay fields, and there's another one that we run cattle on, and it's actually a bunch of conservation. So, there's really like 3 main spots that, like, it's top priority. If I want to be more successful, focus on these.
For sure.
And this year, we're gonna be blessed to have the help of each other. I think this year, it'd be, it's gonna be good for us to kind of help each other out, make sure each other's places are good to go, keep up on stuff, be just more prepared for when opening days come around.
And one of the things that I'm excited about, like you just brought up about having the benefit of each other's help, is like the resources that you have. For example, I've never really had access to. I've always had to do things the hard way, but you have all the farm equipment and stuff that is a lot easier to do these things, especially like the food plot stuff we were talking about earlier. I've kind of never had a lot of access to a lot of those things. What is the kind of first thing you're wanting to do? Like, do you have like let's say tomorrow is the Saturday we're going to go, and we're like, all right, we're doing your land first. Are you going to a certain stand? Are you hanging cameras first?
Yeah. First thought is do as much research on finding out how to keep ticks off of you as possible.
Yeah, which right now we are really battling.
So bad.
We are battling mosquitoes right now like
Yeah.
crazy. We have the bug spray right there.
Yeah,
It is
trying our best.
unbelievably humid right now. Like it is so
Yeah,
humid.
we were just sweating here.
We had
were
to
sitting here
wait.
sweating earlier.
Didn't we have to? How long did we have to wait
It
for the
took about
camera
20, 30
lens
minutes for the camera just to
adjust?
Yeah.
The camera lens
Yeah.
kept fogging over.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that's another reason why we've never made it out, but we're gonna hold ourselves a little more accountable this year. Get out, do some stuff,
And actually film it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. We wanna get some content out there, and hopefully we kind of save this stuff up. Maybe look back on it in the future, learn from our mistakes, because we're gonna make mistakes. You know, we're still young, learning the land, learning practices. But I would say first thing now, food plots is too early. I would say, you know, you're gonna look at that. I've always heard more like 1st of September, late August.
For what?
Food plots.
Yeah.
Just kind of look for the forecast for a really good, decent rain chance. You know, and just make sure you get out before that hits, and make sure it gets rain on it, and you should be good. You know, usually when you get into September, October, you can pick up some more rains than if you were
then
starting
like July or August.
Mid-August.
Yeah.
It can get super dry here in August. So it's good to hold off as long as you can, unless you're planting certain things, obviously.
Do you normally plant food plots, or do you kind of just
we
rely on the ag that you guys have?
Both. We haven't planted any for maybe 5-6 years.
Oh, wow.
We used to every year. We'd have 2, maybe 3, you know. I think, and Dad's gonna get away from the cattle next year, so he's gonna have a lot more free time. So I think that's gonna help a lot too. He's gonna have a lot more time and want to put in a lot more time. He wants to build some fenced food plots, and clear out some areas for food plots and some timber and stuff like that. That's gonna be a big hobby thing for him when he retires. So that's gonna help us out as well. But we hunt hay fields. A lot of times they'll hit the hay fields on their way to the ag stuff, or to water sources or anything like that. But hopefully we get at least one food plot in. It's just kind of fun to have them, and you know, it's kind of it's always a guarantee. Or not always a guarantee, but you're gonna see deer most of the time.
Oh yeah, and also like your hunting environment is different than mine, because since you guys farm corn and beans, you kind of always have that benefit of having corn and beans for the deer to eat and to attract the deer as well. Whereas I have never in my life had hunting ground where there was rotated corn and beans.
You gotta find their
I
bedding
have to
grounds,
plant, or they don't have food.
or you gotta plant.
Whereas you by default, they want to be where on your land. So I have always, if I wanted to see success in bringing deer in to be their kind of number one food option in the area, I've always had to plant
to bring them in.
Whereas in your case, you might just plant like a half-acre food plot to bring them closer, to kill them, like a kill plot, rather than attracting them to live on your property. They already live on your property. I have to work to get them to live on mine.
Or a place for them just to stop by on their way to the actual food.
Exactly. Not to say you don't have to work to get deer to attract a deer property, but
I know
since you have rotated food, it's a little bit easier for you than me, who it's just grass. It's just a hay field with some woods, you know. But it's more rewarding. Like 2 years ago, when I planted that rye plot, I planted 2 acres of rye about 200, 300 yards apart. And the first time I ever sat in it, I reaped the reward. I had never seen that many deer in one sit in a long time before that. Now, granted, it was the rut, but even if it wasn't the rut, it wasn't rut movement, it was food movement. I saw 18 deer at once in that 1 acre food plot. And I ended up killing, the last deer that I killed was 2 years ago, and he was in that food plot.
Nice.
And so it definitely is worth it if all you have the time for, if all you have the money for is to do kind of the throw and grow method.
Even like a quarter acre,
even something small,
Yeah,
a quarter acre. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be an acre. But I just chose to do 2 1-acre plots to give them a pretty good surplus amount of food where they could spread out and they could eat all winter long. You know, and it grew pretty fast once it started. I planted a little too late 2 years ago. You're supposed to plant rye like around the 1st of October where we're at in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And so really even the last week of September.
Yeah.
And I didn't plant until October 15th. So I was like 2 to 3 weeks late. But by the rut, you know, you had rye.
There's stubble,
coming up.
Yeah.
1.5 2 inches, and they were eating it already at that point during the rut. So it was attracting them. And then in the spring, I turkey hunted it, and it also attracted the turkey. We turkey hunted over that rye, and my gobbler flew down into the rye plot in April, and it was at this point this tall, and he flew down and landed from his roost tree into the food plot, and I blasted him. It literally, the hunt lasted 30 minutes from the time that we got there, sat up the blind, and he was dead. It was like half an hour.
Yeah.
And so you also have turkey benefits.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm looking to plant. I'm looking at some different stuff that, you know, we both learn a lot from Jeff Sturgis. And so I've been following his method of the no-till kind of, you know, you mow your grass, you kill your grass, and you wait for a rain and you throw your seed down. And with particular types of seed, it's going to grow. Like those easy, hardy grains like rye, for example. They're going to grow. But I'm going to try this year his method of mixing your oats, peas, and then about a week or 2 later, throwing rye on top of that. And it adds a little bit of variety and volume to it. So I'm going to try that this year.
Okay.
What I don't think you...
Yeah, I was going to say back to your question, kind of what we're aiming towards now. I mean, I think the big thing is checking safety on all stands. Just
I learned that lesson last year.
Yeah, it you know, you hate to show up on middle of September, you know, early October, and you see, oh, the tree's dead that your stand's on, or you know, you've had 70 vines of poison ivy grow up into your stand. Talking from experience, or you've had branches grow off the tree right where your back's gonna be sitting.
Oh my gosh, that is one of my pet peeves.
You can feel it right now.
You spend 15 minutes when you climb up in the stand with your bow, twisting and breaking branches and making all that noise.
Yeah, you're like, well, I might as well just go home.
Right, and it's like, you idiot! Why weren't you here 3 weeks ago? Or
so
2 months ago?
Yeah, so now, and this is that 2 month time.
Exactly.
You know, so we're gonna go out there, trim up the trees, make sure everything's safe, make sure we like to put a lot of extra wire around our stands, just in case the squirrels chew the straps or chains they have on break, whatever. We like to put a lot of extra heavy wire on there just for extra security, seeing if you have any bow hooks that you want to put on the tree, hang your bow on, adding stuff like that. And then after that, I'd say cleaning good trails to your stand, because
it's a big one for me.
Yeah, you can't emphasize how much access to and away from your stand is.
Massive.
Once you actually put in the effort to get that availability to get to the stands and get out of them without making as much noise as you possibly can, you finally realize, wow, that is like 100% worth it. It's like the world of difference.
Yeah, like I was telling you inside before we started, I think if you were to pick 2 factors that determine whether or not you will be successful, and by successful I mean killing a, you know, what we would classify as a shooter buck.
Yeah.
You know, which, you know, my standard is a little bit different than your standard. You have a higher standard than I do, but that's only because, number one, you have probably 3 times the amount of land that I do, and number two, like I said, you have the bean and corn rotation always attracting deer. You see bigger deer than I do just on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And that's gonna happen. So give us, don't let me forget to get back on my main, what I was just about to say, but short bunny trail. So we establish what is your kind of your bare minimum. And of course you don't have tape measure eyeballs.
No. I mean, just off the top of my head, and we've talked about this a lot, and evolves over the years. I have a really nice 8-point inside, and he scores like low 140s. And I don't want to shoot anything that's going to be smaller than that.
Yeah.
And have to spend however much money it is to mount them, $300, $400,
Yeah.
$500, whatever it is to mount them. I don't want to spend that much money if it's not going to be bigger than that. So that's
Right.
kind of my that's kind of my like tipping point right now. Is if it's a really unique one and I think it's below that, I'll shoot it. But I'm hoping for ones in those 150s, which around here usually that's a really good size 3-year-old or your 4-year-olds and older.
Yeah.
You know, usually your 2-year-olds are like what, low 100s, 120.
Oh yeah, I'd
your
say
3-year-olds
a big 2-year-old's hitting 120.
Yeah. Your 3-year-olds, your bigger ones are getting to 150.
That's a big 3-year-old.
That's a really big 3-year-old. Yeah, that's why it had to be a big
because
3-year-old.
both 4-year-olds that I've killed were, one was 139 and one was 143.
Yeah,
and those were both 4-year-olds.
So a lot of 3-year-olds are going to be in that 130, which is a lot of your typical 8 or 9 points you see around here, or your real skinny 10-point. So that's kind of how a lot of stuff I kind of use to judge. A lot of things I've kind of told you. Whenever I see one, I'm like, I immediately know I gotta shoot it. Usually it's a split decision. Like
if it's big enough, it doesn't even require any thought.
You don't even think about it. But a lot of times too is what I look for. It's kind of like when you see them, their rack. It's like it's a separation from their body. It's like you can see.
It's like its own being.
Yeah, it's like you can see the space inside of the rack up there, like
moving, it's holding water in it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's like there's a bowl up there holding the air, and you're like,
he needs to die.
Something.
Yeah,
yeah. So that's kind of that's how. Some quick things I tell. Obviously, you know, you can tell body size. You know, a lot of times in their neck, you'll see if they got a big neck on them.
And like tons of fat, like jiggling around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not going to get that up in here until they're 4 or older.
Yeah.
A lot of 3-year-olds, they'll start to maybe get a little bit darker on their coat, but usually 4 and older, they'll have a real dark. Sometimes you'll see a gray, and you know that's really old. I've only seen a handful of really older deer, and usually they're going downhill actually at that point. But,
I think I've seen one pretty old deer.
Yeah, I saw one a couple years ago, and I was like, I didn't see his rack, but I saw his color, and I was like, man, he's pushing.
And you can see it in their movement
age.
Too.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more slothy.
And then another thing, it doesn't always hold true, but color of the rack. Usually, you're darker is going to be older. Just from what I see a lot of times. Now I have seen a few years ago, I shot a couple 3-year-olds that I saw them, and I was like, man, that's got to be a 4 or 5-year-old. And they weren't. They were still, mid 130s. They were nice deer, but they just had real dark racks.
I'm getting eaten.
I know, it's real bad. But yeah, so that's a lot of the things that I kind of look for when I'm looking for a deer that I'm gonna want to shoot. Try not to be, I'm realistic. I've only seen a couple over like 170 maybe ever. I think the biggest one I saw was last year. So I'm not shooting for anything like that. I think anything in that 150 is a good, really heavy, tall 8-point, or a really pretty 10-point. Like that's going to be our bread and butter.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So you said low 140s would be kind of your like nothing below.
Yeah.
And I would say if I've got a beautiful like a beautiful rack, maybe even non-typical, like with double crab claw stuff, or like a kicker coming backwards, some
Drop
character.
tine or something,
If it's got some cool character, a split brow or something, I'm shooting a 135.
Yeah.
If he is tall enough, if he's got some pretty good mass, but he's only say it's 8 or 9 points, and he's not past his ears, but he's 18 inches tall. You know?
Just go straight up.
Yeah. With 2-3 inch brow tines and one of them split. Like, I have a weakness for character. Over size.
Yeah.
Like, of course, that's incorrect. Size always wins, but I mean, I'm going to favor a 135 inch 3-year-old with a split brow tine and a crab claw, and a kicker coming off of the G2. I'm gonna shoot that deer over a 140 or a 142 10 point when everything's normal.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say you and your brow tines really get you jiving.
I love brow tines. So I would say I'm right around your neighborhood, but I would say unique character trumps the measurement in my head. Just cool racks. I just and so talking about stand safety, I think the first thing that I want to do is number one, I want to figure out. We took that tree stand down last year from where I moved from, behind my old house, so I got to find a home for that. That is like priority number one. I want to find a home for that tree stand. And it's a double stand, so I want to think about rifle hunts with my son. Where am I going to see the most amount of deer traffic? Probably a rut location to put that stand in. We'll hang that stand, and then after I hang that stand, it is, like you were saying, it's a little bit too early for planting food plots, but you can start round-upping, your grass and killing your grass about a month before you plant. So right around middle of August, I really need to start thinking about spraying.
Looking for trees that you want to put your stand in, maybe seeing if you can see any trails that they're using. Trying to target those.
So I would say the first thing for me would be figuring out where I want to put my new tree stand, or that new location, determining where that is. And then after that, access. Like I want to go big on access this year, because I've kind of always blown it off, and so many times, no pun intended, it's blown deer at me. Because I've always procrastinated, and I've never really paid attention to clearing lanes. Not shooting lanes, I do that, but clearing lanes, walking from your truck. If you have like, I'm sure you have some good bedding area stands that is in the thick woods. Well, I have a few of those stands, and I've never paid attention to raking some dang thorns and sticks out of the way. Trimming those, and then when you're walking to your stand in the morning and it's still dark,
all you gotta do is, or even if you kick one thing,
the deer. And since it's before daylight, you never knew that you scared them. They're gone.
And the more, even if you don't scare them, the more attention you draw towards your point of access.
I'm going to go the long way this morning.
But they'll all the time they'll go and they'll smell where you've walked.
Sniff that trail.
They smell your trail. Dad's seen them go and find deer stands before and smell the ladder that you've climbed up in. And then you go back there and hunt. The first thing that doe does when she gets up to walk by there, she goes and she looks right up in that tree stand. She sees you and she turns and goes the other way. So they're, and I mean, the big bucks don't get big for no reason. They're geniuses. They know the woods way better than we do.
They're programmed by God literally to do one thing:
survive,
breathe. And we are trying to stop that.
Exactly. So I think access is something that we've both really not honed in on.
This will be the first year I've ever even done it at all.
Yeah. We have slightly more so for like stands when we have people that don't know the land that we invite to hunt.
Right.
For them to find it. But then we go to our stand and then it sounds like herd of squirrels running to the tree stand.
Yeah.
It's like we fix up theirs, but not the ones that we like to hunt.
Not to be that guy, to be cringy, but to be honest, we're talking about like a safety hazard too. Because I've tripped in the woods with my bow.
Oh yeah, no,
before,
yeah, exactly.
Because there was this, like, you know those vines that grow like in the dirt and they'll come up a little ways, and it just caught my foot and I tripped. So there's that too. Yep. But it's just as simple as taking some shears or some sort of brush, clippers, or like in my case, I love using like a sawzall. Like a cordless sawzall with a wood blade on it, and literally just and cutting all that crap out of the way, and grab like a hard rake and get it down to the dirt, so that your trail on the way.
And
in.
even if we have to do that again in a month and a half from now, it's
the first time
10 times easier.
That first time kind of sucks, but the going back after, it's just as simple as
and then
kicking some stuff out.
And then
of
once
the way.
we start training it, we walk the stuff, we clear it. They'll eventually open up to where every year it's so much faster to get in there and clean it up, this year's gonna suck probably. We're gonna spend a lot of time on it, which we're prepared to. But
so do you have like I do you have any like new tree stand locations, like somewhere where you're like, I want to put a tree stand there this year?
Yeah, well, I have one that I for sure know at some point I want to build an actual blind stand, tree stand, elevated platform kind of thing.
Right.
That'll be in the future. I don't want to spend the money on it right now. Or maybe that'll be something that when Dad retires, I talk him.
Right. Yeah.
Because he'd like to do something like that. So I have one like that. There's several that I either need to move slightly. And I'm talking like 20, 30 yards just from deer patterns I've seen over the last few years. And then I don't know, we have a lot of stands out, so really we don't need any new ones. It's just improving the ones we have, maybe slightly moving them. I could probably come up with an area that we could put one at. But really we just need to, our big thing is just maintenance on the existing ones, and improving our odds when we're in those. And usually, if I have a spot where I want to hunt and just try it out, I'll hunt on the ground there a couple times just to see what I see, try it out, get a feel for it. If I think there's potential there, then we'll put a stand up. But usually, I like to get a test run on the ground. Just kind of, you can build some really cool ground blinds really fast. So. That's typically my thing. Sometimes, you can lower the top wire of a barbed wire fence and just train them to jump in that area, and then sometimes trees fall on fences. That'll change their patterns. It'll move them away from your stands. One of our best stands, I think that's an issue we have right now, and that's something I want to fix the fence there to get them back to moving where they were moving. So. Not so much new stands. I think just highly improving what we have out there right now is like my big focus this year.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah,
and that's something we've talked about is probably going together sometimes.
Having a cameraman is ideal,
and hopefully things work out. When we,
schedule
from here on out to where one of us hopefully gets one early on in the year, and then we can focus on the other one, filming for the other guy, because you live a ways away now, so it's harder for you to get down and go. I have busy work schedules sometimes, just.
But even if I can't be there, just training yourself to know how to self-film.
Correct. Because we can self-film, we can film. When we have the other person.
And with with the right equipment and stuff, it definitely makes a big difference. It makes it easier. Is hanging trail cameras kind of a priority to you, like when we first get out, or can that kind of wait? Like, it'll probably be
September.
I was gonna say I'll probably hang my cameras like late August. Maybe late August, early September, because we've talked about it before. it ain't gonna be the same deer anyway.
Oh no. It's more so just fun to see,
To get some pictures
and
coming in.
You learn from
and you
it.
do learn deer behavior.
Yeah, you learn their behavior. We're not. Let's be honest. We're not going to be out there like tracking deer, the same deer. You know, you might see him several years in a row, but you're not patterning him. Or,
I've never in my entire life seen the same deer in August and seen him again during the rut, for example. Never. It's never happened.
Yeah, I've gotten maybe 2 deer ever that we've actually had on camera.
Right.
And one we got a picture of him on his way to me shooting.
I've
like that one doesn't count.
I have killed deer that we had pictures of.
Yeah.
But they're in their fall routine. They're in that rut routine in their rut home.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's
they're
just
not
like scramble brain up here. They're just like
It's not. You know, and one of the things that Jeff Sturgis talks about is if you have a healthy summer habitat for bucks. That's not good because that means the fall habitat won't be good and they'll leave when you're trying to hunt them.
Yeah.
So I actually don't mind if I don't see the same bucks during the summer as I do during the fall, as long as I'm seeing consistent buck activity.
Yeah, as long as you're seeing deer.
Yeah, during the fall when I can kill them, that's really all that matters.
Yeah.
So
really, it's good information to make sure they're where you think they should be.
Right, for sure.
Not this specific deer, just deer in general.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's why I would say September for those is usually when we try and get them out, you know.
So wrapping it up, it's getting pretty late. What do you do anything to, as far as trail cams go, do you do anything to attract the deer to your trail camera? Like what do you do to get pictures? Like, cause I'll do like mock scrapes. That's worked pretty good for me where I'll like find a natural low hanging branch and make a mock scrape or, deer cane. I love deer cane, like the white blocks, you know?
Yeah.
They literally, the first year I tried that, I put one of those blocks down, it rained on it a few times, and I came back, and there were thousands of pictures of deer they just created a crater in the earth where that thing is. It's literally cocaine for deer.
Yeah.
So what do you do to get them to step in front of the camera?
Typically we use trails. A lot of our farms have maybe you've logged it, so they had logging roads in there, or they just have old roads through the farm. We place them on roads a lot of time because the deer use them. Just easiest, your point of travel. They're going to use it. So place them on roads, trails usually. If we have a really good hayfield we like to hunt, we'll just put one on the edge of the hayfield where we know that they're going to cross the fence every time. That stuff like that. But with you saying that, I have watched a lot of videos on the mock scrapes, and I would like to try them this year.
I've had a lot of success.
Yes,
I've
heard.
I had a shooter buck. I showed you the pictures of it. I'm pretty sure that shooter buck that I had over at our 120 acres that I had made a mock scrape, there was already a vine hanging and touching the ground. So I just cut it with the Sawzall.
3 or 4 feet off the ground.
About like my belly button height. Cut it there, and I got a bunch of pictures of that buck just, rubbing his forehead on it and checking it out and scraping. Location matters big time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can make the world's best mock scrape, but if it's in the middle of a hayfield, it's,
it's worthless.
Right. But if you find a location where they're already traveling, they're already walking, and it's being used naturally, that's killer.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So...
And another thing is just cedar trees. If you have a cedar tree that they really like rubbing on, you can put them on those.
They do like those evergreens and stuff. Yep. I can't wait to hit the woods.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We're going to get a lot of content filmed and
for sure
start getting out here in probably 2 or 3 weeks and hopefully make it a every week, 2 week kind of thing. We can get out and do.
We'll bring the camera with us. My dad will probably film it.
He can come
doing some work. Going through our tree stand routine early summer and all the things we've just talked about, putting eyeballs on it and actually doing it. So we can't wait to hit the woods, and we're losing camera lights. So
it was great.
Yep, we'll get out in the field and continue doing it.